Okay, I can see you. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, and we're live. So, hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the second episode of the IFSC Lounge. And there is a live chat, so say hi, let us know where in the world you're listening from, and if you have questions for Petra throughout the live stream, drop them in the chat, and we'll try to get to some of those along with some of the questions. Some of the questions previously submitted through Instagram. So, if you're wondering who the heck I am, my name is Jinni Xia. Usually, I'm the host of my own competition climbing podcast called That's Not Real Climbing. But today, I am so grateful that the IFSC invited me here to host the lounge with special guest, former bouldering world champion, former Olympian climbing star Petra Klingler. So, Petra, thanks so much for meeting with us here today. How are you doing?
Hi to everyone from I saw Canada and Barcelona already on the stream. I'm good. Just came back from training, which was a good training today. I focus most on bouldering, so did what I love. What can I say?
Awesome. Okay. And I can't wait to get into training and all that good stuff a bit later. But for now, while I'm sure there are a lot of loyal old comp climbing viewers out there, there are also a lot of new competition fans out there who may not know just how long you've been in the circuit. So, when did you start climbing and how did your comp climbing career start?
Well, I don't know a life without climbing. I grew up with climbing, with my parents and grandparents being climbers.
Yeah.
Mostly like outdoor climbers, like not competitive, not at all, but they just enjoy the outdoors. We live in Switzerland, we have the mountains, so we as a family we just spent our times and weekends, vacations outdoors climbing. And I think about the age of 12, I started competition climbing because, yeah, rainy days, what do? We went to the climbing gym and there was a comp going on. And I guess for my mom, it was just like the moment where it's like, oh, nice, I can give my kids to the competition and they're they're having fun, and she and my dad could go climb.
Awesome. Yeah, Switzerland is so pretty. I wish I could go back. I never tried climbing there, but it is a really nice
Ah,
place to
you
be.
must. Yeah, there's a
I
lot of
want
climbing.
Yeah. I think also I heard that you were born with like a foot deformation that took a lot of years to fix. Did that like affect your climbing at all growing up?
Yeah, a lot actually. Well, I was born with a clubfoot or with clubfoot. That
Mhm.
means that my feet were twisted inwards and kind of upwards, if that makes
Mm.
sense. So I had to had a cast for 9 months, and then it was like special shoes, even like wearing shoes by night. Then like inserts, special orthopedic shoes, which were never really nice.
Mhm.
But in the end, I must say it was for me a huge motivation for climbing on the one side because um, I think I always realized how special it is, or I appreciate it that it's not normal that I can climb. And especially if I had like a bad comp or a bad day, I try to remind myself like, okay, how lucky I'm actually that I can do sports and I'm capable of training and, yeah, being a high performance athlete. Yeah, so that always helped me kind of get over disappointment, and it motivated me to keep on trying, to showing the other kids maybe who are born with such a deformation that it's possible, and with treatment you can, and with hard work as well and patience,
Mhm.
you can really get there. And now you can't see anything anymore and probably have better foot placements, or like, I don't know how you call it, but then maybe normal people have, or more in the awareness also. And now it's really nice that I'm in the position to be part of a charity which is called Miracle Feet. And we kind of try to get money together to pay for not surgery, but like kind of the also not the costs as I had, but there's like a special treatment nowadays, which is like a bit modern, more modern.
Fancy
And
new
we pay
treatment.
for kids that they can have this and make them be able to do sports.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it doesn't affect you at all these days anymore?
No, not really. I mean, I do feel that I have like a different range of motion in my foot, but I don't really know if it's from the club foot or if it's from something else. What I feel is if I do too much jumping around, like my foot just doesn't like it that much.
Mm.
But also, this is something like it's hard to say if it's from having club foot or if
Yeah,
I
I
would have.
think we can all relate to that. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really good to learn about. Thank you for sharing. I also just wanted to touch on what you said earlier about your upbringing, that you come from a whole family of climbers, which is so crazy to me. Whenever I hear that people grew up in the climbing community, I've always got to know, did you ever feel resistant getting into climbing yourself because you wanted to be like different or special? Or did you ever wonder if you were like doing it for your own reasons rather than just fulfilling like expectations of your family?
Yeah, for me, it was definitely a bit like this. I really didn't like climbing as a kid.
Mm.
I think, like looking back, for once, because we always had to walk a lot before going climbing, and I
Mm.
hated walking, but also just because I wanted to find my own way. I wanted to not do the same thing as my parents do.
Yeah.
But I guess the love and the attraction to climbing was bigger than not climbing. Yeah, and I started actually with horseback riding. So till I was 14, I think I was totally into horseback riding. But I guess it's multiple factors. On one side, in climbing, suddenly I had like competitions, I had goals, I saw progress, and in horseback riding, it was the opposite. I would, or my parents would have had to buy an own horse to kind of get to the next level, or I would have had to go to Germany to take the next tests, and the yeah, it was just so much harder to progress or get somewhere and have a goal
Mhm.
that climbing just kind of started to take over. And also, like my friends, they were in climbing, or I got to know my friends in climbing. We had a really an amazing team with Natalie Berchi, who also did comps for a long time, Rebecca Stotz also doing comps, and they're still like my best friends. And
Mm.
just all these adventures together with them and training with them and being it just, yeah, it totally was amazing. I mean, just all these memories I have, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's super nice. And it's nice that it sounds like climbing was kind of more accessible for you, at least compared to horses. Horses, they get pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I had like horses I could go riding, but like to
Mm.
really go into competition horseback riding, yeah, it's a financial aspect at the end a little bit, and also the age. I was a bit too young at that time.
Mm.
And yeah, with climbing, it was really nice. We had a climbing gym, an amazing climbing gym, the Kletterzentrum Gaswerk, just close. And yeah, they had like a team, and they from the beginning on they supported me, and I felt always good going in there, and I
Mhm.
felt like it was my family there.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's all what we love about climbing as well. So, yeah, it's incredible how long you've had a passion for competition climbing. I think you've been in the comp scene for like 20 years. Is that right?
Kind of, I can't really remember, but yeah, I
Yeah.
started, yeah, 20 years actually. I started around 12, and I'm 32 now, so
Yeah.
a
Okay.
long time.
Yeah. So if we look back through all like the live streams on IFSC, it's really clear how much setting has changed throughout the years. Did you feel like it was difficult for you to adapt to all of those changes, or like, yeah, like what's still the most challenging part for you?
I mean, looking back, it's super interesting how at the beginning, I mean, I still can remember my first dyno in a competition. It was at the World Cup in Munich. And it was like from a jog to two like bubbles on the volume, like simple, straight up, easy dyno. And everyone was like, wow, you're so good at dynamic movements, your coordination, it's so crazy. And now looking at the kids and the young athletes coming up, I'm like, I have a really, really hard time to keep up with all the coordination, and so hard for me to learn. And it's a constant doing and getting this feeling, and a lot of work for me. Whereas I would say, like, for the younger athletes growing up with this style, it seems much easier for them to just jump around and do all these crazy movements.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll change again, and then they'll also have to adapt and get used to something new. Do you have
Yeah, I
like a
think it's just
preference?
the process of climbing and
Yeah.
the style which is changing. You get into something, you grow up with it, you're good at it, and then it changes, and the younger ones will be good at that style.
Mhm.
So they will probably have the same as if you ask them in 20 years.
Mhm. Do you prefer like the old school style, or I mean, it sounds like maybe you were already better at dynos back then.
I mean, I really like the what we call nowadays old school style, just a simple, powerful, bam
Mhm.
bam climbing,
Mhm.
which I'm also quite strong at. But I really enjoy the challenge of these coordination movements, and thinking about like how you have to move your body, how you have to swing your body, use your hips, and kind of put together all these different smaller movements with like how much power you put in. And doing one of these crazy moves is just like, it's so insane, where you can surprise yourself. And this feeling is something I really enjoy a lot
Mhm.
nowadays, but it
Yeah.
can be as frustrating as it is really amazing once you do the move.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. It's like so satisfying when you've been working on the same stupid move for so long and then you
But then
finally get it.
yeah, but then it's often with coordination. At least it's for me, like, I do the move and I'm like, why didn't I do it like 20 tries before that? Because it
Mhm.
felt so easy. But I guess, yeah, that's it, that whole challenge. And really the hard thing nowadays in comps, you have to like understand the movement and feel the movement so fast, like in these 5 minutes.
Mhm.
And yeah, if you have like 3 days to learn the movement, it's so much different than if you have like these 5 minutes, like 3 4 tries.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think viewers have to keep that in mind because you like do it at the gym and you're like, oh, I could do it. Like I could be in the competition. But yeah, you only have 5 minutes, so
Mhm.
it goes by quick. Over all those years that you've been competing, does any specific competition stand out to you?
I mean, many of them, but for sure, I mean, the World Championships in 2016 in Paris is kind of still my highlight because it just changed my whole career so much.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I've wondered many times like what would have happened if I just like got fourth. Um,
Mhm.
I think my whole career would have gone in a totally different direction, and so many opportunities I had with this success. Yeah, thanks to this victory. And yeah, which was just mind blowing at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they're showing a quick video of that World Championship in Paris. Do you like remember these specific boulders as well?
Yes. I mean, I can't. I this boulder definitely. I mean, I've also seen the videos
Yeah.
really a lot of times, but I will never forget that moment where I did this movement, and I was just so happy and in the moment, not thinking about results or anything, and just enjoying climbing in front of this public with all these. incredible athletes, and yeah, sticking this move, it was just like the moment where like you achieve more than you expected,
Hmm. Did
which
you
is incredible.
know during that last boulder that you had won it?
No, I actually I
Mm.
went back behind the wall. I started packing my stuff because there were still like 3 athletes coming or even more, and I asked like if I can go in front to my team, and they would say like, oh no, yo, no, like medalists have to stay back here, and I'm like, what? And then I
Mm.
was allowed to kind of sneak in front to see the last 2 athletes, because it was depending on them if I would win or like be second or third.
Mhm.
And I remember watching Akio. She was the last athlete climbing, and I knew she's been my idol for so long, and I've looked up to her and learned so much from her, and I've admired her, especially her flexibility. um, and I really wanted her to succeed and win, because she's never won world championships then, but
Oh.
she's won so many World Cups, and I just wanted her to win this, till I was like, okay, what if, I mean, I'm kind of hoping she will win, but then it would also kind of be nice myself to win. Like this,
Mhm.
I would say like conflict. I didn't realize that I'm actually betting against me if I'm hoping for her.
Mhm.
So for me, this comp was so much just about emotions, having fun, about my passion for climbing, and not at all about results,
Mhm.
which was just incredible. Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
the public was, the whole event, it was crazy. There was almost never a competition like this again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really nice to hear. But switching gears real quick to another crazy competition that happened a bit more recently, the Bern World Champs. I think that was also another emotional roller coaster for you from like qualifiers and semis. I know you also lived in Bern for several years in the past. So how was your experience competing there?
I mean, for me, hearing just about like having the world championships in Bern was crazy, because it was kind of the only thing missing in my career, like having a home world championships.
Mhm.
And I remember that actually 2000, and I don't know when, 9-ish about, we should have had the world championships in Bern as well, and it would
Mhm.
have been my first senior worlds, but they got canceled and moved to China. So for me, it was like, wow, like how crazy is it that I have the chance to climb at home for world championships? And that's also why I decided that it's going to be my last one. So
Mhm.
having it at home, something so special. Yeah, it was crazy. And qualifications, I thought, didn't really go well. The boulders were really special. I didn't feel good at all. Um, and I thought I would never manage semis. And yeah, the disappointment was so high when I heard
Mhm.
that I actually would make it to semifinals. I was like, that was amazing. It was such a relief, and my goal was just for semis to have fun, to show everyone how much passion I have for climbing, and that was the most important for me. And yeah, it's, I will never forget it. Like eh, each boulder from this day, I will never forget.
Yeah. Do you like tend to feel more psyched or more pressured climbing in front of a home crowd? Because I feel like that could definitely be terrifying.
I mean, in one way, it was definitely a lot of pressure, but at the same time, it was really amazing. It was
Mhm.
because I managed, like in my mindset, have this goal to just enjoy it, climbing for myself, just taking in everything I can, having fun. Uh, I could kind of forget about the pressure and just take it as it is, and taking in every moment I got.
Mhm. Yeah, there was I don't know if they're gonna show it, but there was also, like, almost a buzzer beater moment on the last boulder, which was so like intense and emotional for I'm sure you and everyone watching as well. It was like a really nice end to burn. I saw you also received a hold as like a goodbye gift from the competition.
Yeah. Well, because it was my last World Championship,
Yeah.
I just have the goal to do the Olympics this year.
Mhm.
Yeah, they or my former coach Urs,
Mhm.
he gave me the last hold of this last semifinal boulders I topped in the last seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a reminder, as a gift for, yeah, to remember Bern. And
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. Where do you keep it now?
it's on my training wall. Together with the top hold from Paris 2016.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know you got one there too. Wow, that's such a fun
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah, it was super emotional, and just having everyone there, like my family, all my friends. Yeah, it's heartwarming to see them all with me and having them with me, and it gave me so much energy.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Now, changing the subject to what everyone is talking about this year, the Olympics. You will be participating and trying to qualify. But first of all, you competed in the Tokyo 2021 Olympics. How was that experience for you? And how was like the Olympic Village experience?
I mean, we have to remember which year it was. It
Yeah.
was the COVID games, so yeah. I mean, it's not what I hoped the Olympics to be, honestly. I yeah, you hear so much about like how it is to see and meet all these other athletes, like having this Olympic spirit and everything, and this was all not there.
Mhm.
No spectators, not that much emotions, and yeah, it was or looking back, it's super interesting that I feel like I've never been so well prepared for a competition as for the Olympics, which was
Mm.
amazing. But in a way, it took away all the excitement or all the, yeah, the adventure of the competition for me. Because before I even got there, I knew how it would look like, how my room would look like, how my like restaurant would look like, how the village would look like, how the comp would look like, except the boulders. But so
Mhm.
I knew everything. I knew my schedule like almost like hourly, like when my physio appointments would be, when my training will be, when. So I had everything scheduled so perfectly. It always took away the fun of not, or yeah, the unexpected, and nothing unexpected happened except that I didn't perform as I would have loved to.
Mhm.
um but yeah, so I feel that's also why I think I couldn't stop competing at that moment, because I still had like a, yeah, I didn't feel like I'm finished with the Olympics. So
Yeah.
that gave me actually the motivation to still keep on going and trying the Paris Olympics once more.
Yeah.
I want this whole feeling of the Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely want to experience the crowd at the Olympics and I guess the
Also
surprises. The what?
the athletes, like
Yes.
seeing all the other athletes, talking to them, hearing their story. Yeah, just that. Yeah, it was different. But that the one thing I was surprised, maybe a little anecdote from Tokyo, is that I think it was a bizarre image. There was like this one athlete. I don't know from which country, unfortunately, anymore. But like, imagine like a professional athlete. You would think he's sportive, like he knows the body and everything. But they actually, I think, were learning how to ride a bike,
Mm.
which was super funny to see, because for me as a Swiss, it's like normal. I go to work by bike, I go to train sale, like I move around with a bike. But
Mhm.
seeing like a top athlete, professional athlete, learning how to ride a bike,
Hmm.
it was such a funny image. And it's definitely something, yeah,
Yeah.
would have expected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least they're learning. It's never too late. It's never too late to learn something new. Awesome. And another thing different between the Olympics last time and this time is there's no more speed climbing. But one of my favorite things was watching non-speed climbers do the speed route because it's just so interesting to see like how much it translates or how little it translates. How was speed training for you? And do you ever like speed climb nowadays just to relive the good old days?
I mean, I always liked speed.
Hmm.
I think it helped me a lot also for bouldering.
Yeah.
And my challenge was actually to decide, okay, which discipline do I focus on? So when the Olympics came and all three disciplines were in it, I was like, okay, that's perfect for me. But no, I've not really been speed climbing since.
Hmm.
But I tried, or I was at a speed competition end of last year, and I tried the speed route again with the speed climbers, and I wasn't that much slower. So
Nice.
that kind of was interesting, but also a bit frustrating because you're training like crazy to get faster and faster.
Hmm.
And without training, I think I was like half a second slower. But I mean, in the end, in speed, it's a lot.
Mm.
But generally, like, yeah, for what I was training for speed, like half a second, it kind of feels crazy now.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. What about speed training translated into bouldering for you?
I always thought like speed climbing was a really good and a bit more fun training for explosiveness.
Mm.
So it really helped me be explosive in bouldering. And also interestingly the mental part for speed climbing, I really had to learn how to shut off my brain.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking while going fast, you're being slow.
Mm.
So I was really struggling with that, and also like someone telling me when I have to go. That's what I really like in bouldering, that I can decide myself when I want to give it a try, if I want to take another breath or not. But yeah, speed climbing really taught me a lot about like how to shut off my thinking and just go for it and trust my body that it does the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. If you're thinking, then you're already slow. That's a good learning. So for this year, what have you been doing in preparation for OQS? Like, what does training look like for you these days?
I mean, it's kind of just building up strength for sure. Um, a lot of time goes into bouldering, like the coordination boulders. I really try to focus on that, um, getting more comfortable in jumping around, getting the confidence to jump. Also working mentally on these parts. Other than that, I've not been that much into lead climbing up till now. I'm starting more endurance stuff coming up like the next weeks a little bit. But my focus definitely still is bouldering. I know I have to perform in bouldering and have a solid result as well in lead. But if I'm not strong enough in bouldering, I will anyway don't have the will not have a chance. So yeah, and I don't know. It's different.
Mhm.
I'm training less than before. I think I'm getting old. No, my
Okay.
body definitely needs more rest. I can
Mhm.
feel that. What's really nice is that I've been struggling with my shoulders, with inflammation in my shoulders for the last 2 years, but that somehow went away, which is really good.
Hmm.
Touch wood. So I'm really happy that my body is doing well, and yeah, I'm super excited for the season to start, to see where I am and how I can translate that on the comp wall or like competitions. So
Mhm.
I would say or like physically I'm probably stronger than ever, but I'm still struggling with transitioning it on the wall. So
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
see how
Well, Yeah, we'll be rooting for you. And it looks like you already have some fans who will be watching in Budapest, so that'll be exciting. So now getting into something that may be a little bit bittersweet for you, you did announce that you'll be retiring from competition climbing after OQS and the Olympics. How did you decide that now is the right time, and how are you feeling about it? Are you excited, nervous?
I think it's like a cocktail of emotions.
Mhm.
But yeah, as I said, like after Tokyo, I didn't feel ready to stop competing. I had like this fire in me that I want to try it again. And then with the Worlds in Bern, I was like, okay, I definitely want to do that. And I mean, Paris, come on, it's Paris, and it kind of closes the circle with 2016 in Paris. It would be super nice to be able to compete for the Olympics or in the Olympics in Paris again. Um, but then I also felt like, okay, I think it's time to give this place open for new athletes coming up. And my motivation just it's super high for comps, but I feel that I'm missing also the outdoor climbing.
Mhm.
And I want to have time to also go outdoor climbing and focus more on projects outdoors. And I was never the athlete who was able to kind of combine like outdoors and indoors. For me, mentally, it was really hard. And I think I had a goal and I focused on it. So I went 100%. So if I had comps as a goal, every time I was outdoor, it for me mentally, even though I know it's not true, but it felt
Mhm.
like I'm not training for my goal.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I just decided, okay, now it's time for comps. But in the last few months, it's like the the motivation for going outdoors grew more and more. So
Mhm.
I'm excited to
Yeah.
go more outdoors after the Olympics. But yeah, of course, it's also challenging and scary to
Mhm.
kind of finish a chapter like this. It's been my whole life. I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know life without competitions, and it gave me my structure, it gave me my motivation. So yeah, it's scary to think about what's coming. I have no idea where I'm going, what's going. It's yeah, and it's not easy as well. Sponsor wise, uh, a lot of my sponsors they quit their contracts for this year already because I announced my retirement in competition.
Oh,
So
wow.
transitioning to outdoor climbing, yeah, it's not easy, and also not getting the support anymore, and it nags at the self-confidence as well, like if I can do
Mm.
it. So yeah, not easy, a bit scary, but also really exciting.
Yeah. Well, if there are any sponsors listening, do reach out. That would be great. Lots of outdoor companies.
Yay.
Yeah, she's going to be crushing outdoors, so it's time to reach out for that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people want to know, do you have any ideas? Like, what's next for you after retirement? Are you going to be like coaching? Are you interested in setting or like doing something completely not climbing related?
It's really a hard question, and I don't know myself, but climbing definitely will be part of my life in the future. Um, I mean, as I said, I would love to really transition over into outdoor climbing full time if somehow possible. Other
Mhm.
than that, I'm currently looking for a job in sports
Mhm.
somewhere, sports department, sports marketing, sports management, something. Also looking into coaching, but I mean, I studied sports, so that's kind of close. But in Switzerland, at least, I would have to do more degrees and stuff. So yeah, I definitely see myself as a coach in the near future, but maybe not straight away because I
Mhm.
just like I have to get back into coaching. I don't think I'm gonna be that much into route setting, honestly, but
Mhm.
I'm super psyched to support route setting because I feel like it's really, really important, especially for competitions. And I've already organized like a women's route setting camp once, and I'd love to invest more time into projects like this as well, like route setting, like supporting, bringing athletes and route setters together to learn from each other. Because I feel like route setters learn from us athletes, and we can give feedback. And I think this exchange has to get more and more and more like in a professional way and not just on a competition level.
Mhm.
And also, like, I have so many projects in my mind, like I could talk about like ages probably, but yeah, also like a generally like an idea about the, I would say like a retirement program. Like, what about athlete, what happens with athletes retiring?
Mhm.
How can we help them transition to finding jobs, finding their way after comps? Because yeah, it's not like a normal retirement. Or I mean, I'm lucky I studied, and I think a lot of climbers they did study, but having, yeah, like you quit climbing, and then you also as an athlete you can't just stop training, so
Mhm.
you also have to decrease slowly from the training volume. um and I feel like nowadays, with not just in climbing but generally in sports, the problem is that you stop your sport, and then you're not financially not supported anymore. Your sponsors often stop. You kind of lose everything, and you don't get the time to decrease the volume of training. And directly have to get a job. You have to work full time to get financially over kind of into the normal life. And finding some way how we could support athletes in these positions is kind
Mhm.
of something that grew in me. And I'm kind of I am motivated to find a way to support these athletes in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds really terrifying too. Um, but yeah, if you can find a way to help people out, that would be really great. I think I've heard like in other sports that's a big issue as well. And especially right now, since climbing isn't even as big of a sport, I'm sure it's
Mhm.
only harder. So good luck to you with that.
Thank you.
Um, on a
Yeah.
slightly less scary note, I think, are there any other, like, outdoor trips or projects that you have in mind already?
uh a whole list.
Mhm.
I mean, I mean, I live in Switzerland. We have so many
Yeah.
amazing climbing areas I've not really been, or I've never really had the time to project any bigger or harder routes. So there's a little project really close where I live.
Mhm.
But there's also, of course, like Brione for bouldering, Ticino generally, or Magic Wood. I haven't climbed the hard classics yet, so that's gonna be on my tick list. I'd love to travel. Like, I love Canada, so I'm definitely gonna go to Canada, climb in Canada, and hopefully, if somehow possible, combine it with like workshops, or like a route setting workshop or something like that as well, or coaching workshop. And not, I feel like, yeah, I have the hope that I can travel for outdoor climbing, but also giving back something to competition climbing at the same
Mhm.
time.
Awesome. Okay, and there are also a few other, like, non-climbing hobbies that you've dabbled in. I think I've seen, like, some photography. I also heard that you used to play violin, and I also used to play violin, so that's cool. Yeah. Are these things that you think you'll pick up after retirement now that you'll have more free time?
Yeah, I just recently got into photography. It's something which relaxes me really. It's nice to kind of see life through a different lens, and it's interesting how you get to know yourself with analyzing a little bit what sparks your eye or catches your eye. So at the moment, I don't know why, but I'm into details.
Mm.
I've always loved like flowers and nature photography. I love cooking. So one to do I have on my list is actually like a cookbook. I've always dreamt of giving out a cookbook.
Hmm.
So just yeah, it's always been like my relaxing place, standing in the kitchen baking. I love sweets, so kind of
Yeah.
healthier sweets, good cooking, easy cooking. If it's a stressful life, but still good cooking, or
Mm.
what can help you support also like energy wise, like the sports or lifestyle you have. Um, yeah, that part. Not sure about the violin. I miss it,
Yeah.
but I feel like what I actually miss more is the horseback riding or being around horses.
Oh,
They
yeah.
always calm me down a lot, and yeah, it's also being outdoors, horseback
Mhm.
riding. Something this connection to a horse is really something special.
Mm. Yeah.
So I have that on my list since I don't know how long. I always tried again, but throughout the season, it's so hard to have a
Oh,
routine.
yeah.
Yeah, getting on a horse.
Yeah, I bet. Well, that transitions pretty well into one of the Instagram questions that we had gotten. You mentioned that you really like cooking. So, Julia 80 Sullivan asked if you were a kitchen appliance, which one would you be?
Oof, it's hard. It's a good question.
Yeah, take some time to think about that.
Ah, so that's all the gadgets in the kitchen appliance. Like,
Yeah. Let's
ooh,
see. Like a
I mean, a waffle
mixer
maker,
or
maybe.
a waffle maker?
Yeah,
Okay. Why is that?
because I love waffles.
Okay.
Or pancake maker.
Okay. Okay. Good answer. Anything deeper than that? Like you feel like you produce heat on both sides? I don't know.
No, just because I love it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and I don't use that many gadgets in the kitchen.
Mm.
Things like mixer.
Mhm.
I mean, I have. Oh, okay, maybe I have an ice cream maker, which is really cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's like the
perhaps
opposite of a waffle maker.
yeah, hot and cold. Like I
Yeah.
mean, you can get a pancake or a waffle and then put the ice cream on it. That's really
Mm.
cool.
Oh, that's the best. Okay.
So
Okay, good answer. More climbing related. Kira's Happy Life asked, "What are you doing on rest days?"
well, back in the kitchen again, I guess.
Okay.
No, rest days for me, it depends. It can be like different appointments, interviews, just going through all my emails and stuff. The normal work related stuff, I would say. Of course, also what I really appreciate more and more is just go outdoors, like walk, have a nice walk if the weather is nice. I live in a beautiful mountain area, so I live in Appenzell, which is has a really nice lake. So I love going up there, picnic, see friends.
Mhm.
Yeah, because social life does come a bit short sometimes in an athlete's life, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Lucky Engwin 3 asks favorite holds.
Oof. Um, I do like the 360 holes.
Okay. Which ones are
Uh,
those again?
The round ones, or the kind of round and cut ones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I really like them. I like the old flat hold holds, the slopey ones.
Mm,
Probably these probably are my favorite holds.
okay.
I can't tell you how they're called. I'm not that good with names.
Yeah. Are the 360 ones also the dual text ones that have like the hard to tell where the
Yeah,
texture
but
is?
I'm not really fan of those, I must
Okay,
say. Yeah. Rather
gotcha.
the cut ones with the holes, or the textured. They also have dual text ones.
Hmm.
Um, but they have cool combinations like yellow, purple, um, yeah, green, like really shiny colors. So I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. And I'm sure also your favorite holds are the two that you got after or the 2016 World Champs and the Burn World Champs.
Yeah, it's actually, I think, both cheetah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shout out to them. Last one I think we'll have time for since we're running out of time. Jasmine Pentek asks, what's your message to other people who want to compete?
Don't be afraid. Just go for it. Try and try to find what's the fun part. Like, for me, it's the most important in competitions to, even though there's pressure, even though you want to succeed, the most important is like why you're doing it. And for me, it's definitely because I love climbing, because I love the puzzle solving. So remembering this while competing, and go for it. Try. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I will keep that in mind because I also really want to do okay at competing. Don't have to be the best. Okay is good enough for me. But yeah, I think that is a really great statement to end on. I think we're running out of time, but Petra, thank you so much for joining. You're such a
Thanks as
huge
well.
inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the listeners as well. If you want to listen back, the episode will be up on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you want more climbing content, comp climbing content, make sure you're subscribed. There will be more to come. And if that's not enough for you, the link to the That's Not Real Climbing podcast will also be in the description, I think. But yeah, Petra, best of luck to you in OQS. We'll all be rooting for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Bye, everyone.